Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Kajal Yadav from MK Pharmaceuticals Limited, Pune, and I welcome you all for four-module ECG interpretation webinar series. This series is brought to you by in academic collaboration with Indian Society of Electrocardiology, and we are very thankful to the society for giving us this opportunity to collaborate with them to bring interesting ECG cases discussion to you for your benefit. We also thank advisor Dr. S.B. Gupta sir, ISC, President sir Dr. Ajit Bhagwat sir, ISC, and Secretary Dr. Ketan Mehta sir for giving us this opportunity. And to present on today's session, we have two renowned speakers from India. We have Dr. Amit Vora sir with us. He's currently practicing at Glenmark Cardiac Center, Mumbai. And Dr. Aditya Kapoor sir, he is professor at Department of Cardiology at Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences, Lucknow. To moderate the session, we have Dr. S.B. Gupta sir with us today. He is consulting physician at Care Clinic, Mumbai. So without further ado, I would request Dr. S.B. Gupta sir to please take over the proceedings and set the context for today's meeting. Sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, friends. I think it is always an endeavor of Indian Society of Electrocardiology, which is there for almost since 1972. We are in the field, and our main focus of is teaching ECGs. And today also we are teaching ECGs, and we have got very renowned faculty in the form of Dr. Amit Vora and Dr. Aditya Kapoor. And I'll request Dr. Amit Vora to start because there are many ECGs are there. So let's discuss more ECGs today. So I'll request Dr. Amit Vora to start the session.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta and Dr. Kajal. So essentially, what we have decided between me and Dr. Aditya is that we are going to show you ECGs, and I believe my first slide has probably come up, and the theme of the presentation for the majority right now of the ECGs is pattern recognition. So what we intend to do is that we will show you the ECG. It will be in a multiple choice question format, and we'll give you the choices. We will ask you to select the most appropriate choice for a given length of time, maybe 10-15 seconds. Your answers will be accumulated, and instantly Dr. Gupta will probably be able to see how many percentage voted which answer, and then Aditya will help us to decipher the ECGs. So let's go on to the ECG, and I'm showing the first ECG. Now, as I said, the theme of the presentation this time is pattern recognition. So I'm going to try and not give you the clinical history, but having fully understood or realized that ECG can never or should never be diagnosed in isolation, history is extremely and very important. So history is very important to be able to interpret the ECG appropriately. So this is something which is a given. Having said that, there are certain ECG patterns that as soon as you see the ECG, it should click in your mind that this is what it must be. And that's what we are going to try and emphasize in these collection of ECGs, which we're going to share with you. So you have the first ECG you're seeing in front of you. The 12 lead is there, lead 1, 2, 3, AVR, AVL, AVF, V1 to V6, and we have the rhythm strip also at the bottom. The question to you is, does this ECG tell you that this is a supraventricular tachycardia or is it a ventricular tachycardia? And we would like you to start using your voting poll, voting meter from now on, so that we will wait for roughly 10 seconds or so for answers to come in, and then Dr. Gupta will be able to tell us what is the live poll telling us. So look at this ECG more carefully. If I were to very briefly describe the ECG, it shows that the QRS is not very wide, but not completely narrow also. So the QRS width is hovering in the range of maybe 120 milliseconds or so. And it is a tachycardia, borderline in terms of the QRS. If we grossly look at the morphology, it appears to be leftward axis and maybe a right bundle branch block-like pattern. So the question is that, is this an SVT with aberrant conduction, or is it ventricular tachycardia? And I hope you all are all polling in. Dr. Gupta, are we able to see some live poll happening?
Yes. I don't know how many people have voted, but 77% people have said SVT and 22% people have said VT. So that's the polling result. People has about 3/4 SVT and 1/4 VT.
Oh, 3/4 of them have SVT and 1/4
And
of them are VT.
Yeah.
1/3 is VT, 3/4. I think, Aditya, we have a long way to go in Indian Society of Electrocardiology to help people understand the ECG. Aditya, would you like to make some comments based on this ECG? Aditya, are you there?
What happened?
I think Aditya is probably his audio video must be in mute. Kajal, you can make sure that he is on. Let me.
Dr. Amit, you explain now.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Dr. Amit and Dr. Aditya is not available right now. There is a power breakdown at his home. So once it resumes, he'll be there.
All right, not a problem. Dr. Gupta, what comment you wanted to make?
Basically, this patient, there is a tachycardia, as you mentioned, and the tachycardia, if you see the V1 at showing RBBB type of pattern, and if you see the axis, it is the left axis. We see lead 1 and lead 3 and AVF, it is a left axis. So our right bundle branch block and left axis usually it doesn't go well with right bundle branch block. And the other thing is we are seeing some P waves, but P waves are less as compared to the QRS complex. So there is an AV dissociation. So to me, it looks more like a ventricular tachycardia where there's a discordant axis and P waves are not matching with the QRS complex.
Absolutely, Dr. Gupta. So no question about it. So now, majority have said SVT with aberrancy. So let me make this very clear to the, to everyone that SVT with aberrancy is not a very common phenomenon. Let us assume that you see 100 ECGs of white QRS tachycardia. If you see 100 ECG of white QRS tachycardia, 90 to 95% of them are going to be ventricular tachycardia. So upfront itself, when you see a white QRS tachycardia, your inclination should be towards the VT and less towards an SVT with aberrancy. Number one. Number two is, when you say it is an SVT with aberrant conduction, you have to have a bundle branch block. Now the bundle branch block should be typical in nature. A typical bundle branch block may make you think that this could be an SVT with aberrancy. And let's see, is it typical? So this is an RBBB-like looking, but is this typical? There is a small r, a deep S, and then an R dash wave. So this is not typical of a right bundle branch block. RSR dash pattern, there is a small r, there is a small S, and then a tall R dash. So that is a typical RBB pattern. So clearly, it's not typical. If you go from V1 to V2, suddenly the transition doesn't look to be also very typical. So there are no typical features of a right bundle branch block here. And as Dr. Gupta rightly pointed out, that if you have an RBBB like right bundle branch block, what you expect in the QRS axis, the QRS axis should be normal or rightward. You can't have a left axis deviation. So the fact that you have a left axis deviation and RBB-like pattern would mean that there is a clear discordance between the bundle branch block and the QRS axis. And if it's discordant, it must be a ventricular tachycardia. This will not be a SVT with aberrant conduction. So this, I want you to keep it engraved in your mind. RBBB looking, left axis deviation, relatively narrow QRS, not typically narrow, slightly wide, but in the narrow range of wide, 120 to 130 milliseconds. This is classically what we describe as idiopathic left ventricular tachycardia or the fascicular VT.